Hey guys, happy Saturday. Unfortunately, I don't have a Seahawks game this weekend. I do have a Ducks game this afternoon. I wish that I had something to do tomorrow, but I won't. So I'll probably have another one of these videos. But today for you, oh, by the way, yeah, Seahawks. Today for you, I have another commentary video about a This Old House video that added zoning to a house. And I'll tell you guys my thoughts and some criticism and some good advice if you are planning on doing zoning in your own home. And if you saw my video from a couple days ago where I made fun of this video where this guy has a zoning system that zones the actual registers in the floor or ceiling, check that out. That would never work. This system will actually work, the one I'm doing today. Just a couple things I would have done differently. So enjoy the video, and hopefully you learned something from it.
It's right this way.
All right. So you got a long and very clean basement. You knew I was coming, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
Look at this. Here's our main trunk here. Looks like an oil-fired furnace.
Okay, let's stop right off the bat here. In my area, we don't have basements, really. There are very few homes have basements, so that'll make this whole project a lot easier to do. I've done this in finished homes, and it's a pain in the butt, but it can be done.
So that means you got a burner right down here, and that's going to fire into a chamber, and that's going to heat up the air. There's a blower right here that's going to push the air up across a heat exchanger. Now it comes up, and there's a cooling coil back here, so now the air can go across a coil that's inside here to cool the air in the summer, and the air goes out through this plenum. You can see right here, here's the return air. That's going to bring air back from the building, comes back here through a filter, cleans the air, and then it goes back to be the
So I was looking at this, I was pre-watching this video, and see that April air filter down there? So they panned off, looks like almost like a quarter of it. Not what you want to do. You want to build a transition and flare your duct out so it's the entire width of the filter, because it's basically being put to waste. And on a lot of the furnaces, the knockout on the side of the furnace isn't big enough for the filter, so you need to have a transition that transitions from the furnace to the filter as well, in order to get the proper airflow and get the proper filtration through it.
Heated or recooled. Now that blower pushes up through this plenum. You can see right here this insulated trunk right here. So now that air is going to push down this trunk, and you can see there's a series of branches that go out to the rooms right there. Looks like you got another one right here. You can see a branch. And now you get a sense now, when this air pushes down here, there's more and more resistance. So remember upstairs? There was a lot of air there, then less and less and less and less, and that's really why.
Okay.
The other thing I can see right here is why your second floor doesn't have any heat. This is a branch right here, and this looks like...
So what he's talking about is how, it's kind of a misconception that if a duct is on the end of the run that it's going to get less air. It's all how the takeoffs are done, and there's a formula to it. There's a method to it via manual D, and if you follow that, you're going to get equal air to all your runs. Especially if you put dampers on them and you adjust everything and balance everything. So anyway, he's about to point something out here. I think I know what he's going to do.
It goes to the first floor. So that's about, 8 feet long. And all these branches are the same diameter. And this one here looks like it goes to the second floor. Well, that might be 28 feet long. Where's the air going to go?
It's going to go to this one.
The path of least resistance.
Okay, so...
See, but it's not necessarily the path of least resistance just because that duct is shorter. It doesn't work that way. It's all how they come off that trunk line and how the trunk is designed. It has nothing to do with which one has to travel a little bit further. So
how do we fix the problem?
Well, this is a perfect candidate for zoning, forced air zoning. We could put in motorized dampers that can balance the whole system and make any room the right temperature. Sound good?
That sounds great.
All right. So what the guys are installing are these motorized dampers. They're blade-style dampers. You can see it right here. And there's a motor right here. Now, in the mode when it's on, the thermostat's calling, it looks like this. When it isn't...
So that's pretty cool. These dampers, I think this system is made by a company called Zone First. And it's pretty cool that they just plug in with phone jacks. I prefer the Honeywell systems or the EWC zoning systems. They're very simple to put to install, and just uses your standard 18 gauge thermostat wire.
You can see the blade close and tight. See that?
Wow, that's cool.
All right. It gets even cooler with how you wire it. So you can see this motor right here. And we're going to put one of these dampers on every single branch. So just imagine that these two are on the first floor branches. Well, if I wanted to wire...
And trust me, when you do it this way, it's very, very, very expensive. I mean, this guy's probably going to... They don't show it all here, but he's probably paying for 20 plus dampers. So it adds up at $200-300 a pop just for the dampers. So it's not really realistic to do this in most homes. People aren't going to put that much money into just to zone their house, but it is a TV show.
Wire it, I'll just come right here with a telephone jack, daisy chain them together. So now when that thermostat calls, they both will open and both will close. There's an indicator light to tell you whether they're open or closed.
Wow, that's great.
Now the nice thing about this method is it allows really infinite zoning possibilities. We could have first floor, second floor, we could have front of the house, back of the house, or any combination.
Wow.
Now Rich Dupre and his crew help with the installation. Pretty straightforward?
Pretty straightforward. We have motorized zone dampers. We install in all these branch runs.
How many you got?
There's 23 branch runs. So
Okay.
we'll take a zone damper. This is flexible duct. We'll cut it. We'll install the zone damper and secure it with cable ties.
Good. I'll give you a hand.
I kind of like his scissor method with the flex, even though I hate flex. Starting to wonder, what do you do if those phone cords aren't long enough? Do they come with couplings where you can couple them together, or is there a max that you can run those cords? Just kind of wondering, whenever they have these pre-made bundles of wire, I always wonder if they're going to be long enough for the application. Obviously, they're going to work in this instance because it's a TV show.
All of our new wiring comes back to this control panel. We need a way to communicate between the thermostats, the new zone dampers, and the furnace itself. You can see everything's color-coded. Here's the first floor.
I don't know if this Zone First company makes a wireless piece to this, but what's nice with the Honeywell is that you can do everything wireless if you had to. There's a wireless adapter that wires into the zone panel, and you can have all your thermostats wireless. They haven't done it with the dampers yet. Now, if they can do wireless dampers, that's going to be awesome. So once they can do that, I think the zoning segment of HVAC is going to take off huge. If there is a company that does wireless dampers, let me know. Put it in the comments. I don't think there is yet.
Thermostat wires into this strip right here. Here's a second floor thermostat. And you can see right here the same going over to the furnace itself. The connections to the first floor zone dampers is right here with the phone jack connection. Here's
The one thing I don't like about this, he's obviously, this is a very expensive zoning system, and if he's going to do it right, he should change his equipment out to variable capacity, at least multi-stage equipment. I can tell by the thermostat wire coming from the furnace there that it's just a single stage cooling, single stage heating. So, tough to make a zoning system work with that type of equipment. That's just one, on or off.
second floor connection right there. Now, whenever we add zoning, there's one more very important thing I want to talk about, and that is this blower is big enough for all those registers, and now we're going to close off half of them. So I'm worried about having too much airflow through the registers.
Too much airflow sounds good.
No, it isn't in this case, because if you have too much, you're going to have noise and whistle and everything else, so it's not.
And you're going to harm the equipment. You can't. So what's going to happen is you won't have enough air coming across your heat exchanger when it's heating, and you're going to have your high limit switch tripping. And then in the cooling season, you're not going to get enough air across your evaporator, and you're going to freeze your coil. So what he's getting ready to talk about here is a bypass damper. I don't like the type that they're using here, and I don't like the way it's installed. And I wouldn't have done it this way. Well, I'll tell you once they get there.
Not good. So what we need to do is to put in a thing called a bypass damper. Now this is a weighted damper right here. Now this is going to install right here between the supply trunk and the return trunk. So just imagine that the furnace comes on, the blower comes on, and now it's pushing out and half of it's closed off. Pressure builds up here. Instead of having to try to fight its way through the registers, we'll have it come down here. It would lift this damper, and that means some of the air would come right back into the return and go.
So there's a better thing they have now, and Honeywell has them. They're static pressure bypasses, so they're dependent on the static pressure. They only open up when the static exceeds a certain amount, which is what you want it to do. And then once we get to how they install this, I'm going to give you my critiques on that. I don't like the way they installed this bypass either.
Right back here, and that'll keep it quiet upstairs.
That sounds great.
All right.
You could drive a train through that takeoff. Look at the air gaps there. So, you know, what I prefer to do if I have to do a bypass, a couple things I would do. One, he's got a big open basement there, and from what I can tell, they don't have much floor insulation. So what I would do is make that a dump zone. I'd just dump that excess air pressure, excess supply air into that basement and make it semi-conditioned, and that's only going to help your heat loss or gain up above in the living space. And then if I was going to run this as a bypass right back into the return, I would mix it in a lot further down the run. That way it has a chance to mix better, and you're not going to have such a extreme temperature difference as it comes back to the equipment. Just give it more of a run for it to mix, if you can understand what I'm saying.
So how are we doing, guys?
We're doing good. I've sealed up all the new connections with either mastic or tape.
And those weighted bypass dampers are junk. I would throw that in the trash and put something that's based off of static pressure.
I'm adjusting the weights on your bypass damper here so that we get the proper amount of airflow to all the registers upstairs.
We're on the home stretch. Good job, Rich.
Thanks.
I got one more thing to show you upstairs. So we need to find a control point, a thermostat up here on the second floor for your new zone. Now we could run a wire up inside the wall, but I actually want to use this. It's a wireless thermostat, simple to operate. Turn it up, turn it down. Because it's wireless, it can stick anywhere. On the wall, you don't have to run a wire behind it. Or it has a little stand, so I can actually set it onto a nightstand or a bureau. And the only rules about placement are the same as for any thermostat. You want to get a...
I like those portable controls like that because, you know, when you go to bed, you can sense it in your bedroom. When you're up during the day, if you work from like a home office or something, you can put that little portable control in your office. Honeywell has a nice one. It's a portable comfort control that works. It'll work with the zoning. I have one in my house that controls both of my upstairs and my downstairs zones, and you know, I could sit down on my couch, relax, and I can adjust my temperatures. It's a really nice way of doing it, as opposed to, you know, a wall-mounted thermostat.
Good reading. It doesn't want to have direct sunlight. It doesn't want to be in front of a register to get a false reading. So, here is your control. You are now the keeper of the control.
That must have been his parting gift or something. So yeah, we'll go over this. Let me give you guys a little summary. So there's some things wrong in this video, obviously, some things that I would do differently. I'm not a big fan of a bypass duct. I prefer to make it a dump zone somewhere that's not going to affect the comfort of the home. And they missed an opportunity there where they could have just dumped it in the basement. Some people think that you need to, or I mean, some HVAC guys think that you need to dump that air back into the return duct. I'm not a big fan of it because it can cause overheating or overcooling of the return air coming back to your equipment. So just one thing I would have changed there. I probably wouldn't use that Zone First brand just because it looked like it had some limitations on it. It does look like it had a wireless thermostat, which is good. Like I said, I wish they would make a fully wireless zoning option, dampers and everything, and that would be awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to keep doing these. I'm not going to do them every day like I have been. I'm going to be out in the field working, but you know, here on the weekends and days where I'm slow, I'll do some commentary and advice videos for you. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.